Thanks for tuning into the For Love of the Game podcast, where we uncover the most cherished stories of America's favorite pastime. Woven into the DNA of our country are tales from our backyards and sandlots, summer leagues to the big leagues. Every fan has a personal connection, a memory, resonating in each of us. It takes us on a journey to a time long forgotten, or a moment in our youth. That first time we heard the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the fresh cut grass. And these cherished recollections sit there in the back of our minds, beckoning us back to the game that we know and love, our reason to come back home, a reason for our love of the game. Joining us today, the man who introduced me to baseball and taught me how to play the game, Mr. Tom Tunison, or as my brothers and I like to call him, Dad. Pops, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me.
So we're sitting here. It's Super Bowl Sunday, but we only have one thing on our mind, and that is baseball. Only 9 days until pitchers and catchers report to Florida. We got about 50 degrees and sunshine here. What's it up there in New York?
Well, it's about like we talked the other day. Same thing. You had 50 and we had a mix, mostly snow. It's not good, but it is good that it's only about 9 days to pitchers and catchers. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And thanks for the introduction, too, by the way. It's a lot of pressure there, you know.
No pressure. We're just talking baseball here. The thing that we do best.
That's right.
So, so you grew up in Bellmore, New York on Long Island, just a short train ride away from Yankee Stadium. So obviously, you know, being that close to Yankee Stadium, you became a Yankee fan. Now, was that just because, you know, like you said, your brothers, your friends were Yankee fans?
Yeah, my dad grew up in New York City, so he was with the Yankees. You know, he grew up in the 20s back in New York City, 20s and 30s, and from what I remember him telling me, he played some stickball in the city. And my brothers were big Yankee fans. It was when I was coming into the game, to the knowledge of the game and watching the game, it was the end of Mickey Mantle's career. So my brothers were big Mantle fans. And it was the aura and the history of the Yankees, because they weren't very good at that time, but it was the history and the stadium and the Phil Rizzuto announcing the games. It was so intriguing. I loved the history and the possibilities of the Yankees winning again. Was very intriguing.
Year after year, they're never out of the picture. So that's definitely fun to be a Yankee fan. So, can you recall your first ever game at Yankee Stadium?
My first ever game at Yankee Stadium was when they rebuilt it. The Yankees had to play at Shea Stadium in 74 and 75. My first ever game at Yankee Stadium, 1976, the year they rebuilt it. I believe it was July. It was an afternoon game against Oakland A's during the week. My mom and dad took me. It was just the three of us, and I can still see the sun shining through there in right field foul territory, and it was spectacular. It was just amazing. Boy, what I wouldn't give to be there right now with the two of them. It was just awesome. Yanks lost, I think 6-5 or 7-6. Oscar Gamble hit 2 out for the Yankees. Nettles hit a homer. And I think Thurman Munson, my man, had a couple of hits, I think, that day too. Yeah, so it was amazing. Gorgeous day, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, and so many special memories made in our family at the I guess to me it's the old Yankee Stadium, but to you it's the renovated, I guess the second completed stadium there. And not to knock the new one in any sense. It's, you know, what they did to it is it just gorgeous, but there's definitely a certain feeling that you just don't get in the new one that you did in that stadium.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know if it just felt more closed in. I remember when we went to I think it was the 2007 ALDS Yankees Indians, and we were there, and it was the game. I believe it ended up being Roger Clemens' last appearance, I think,
ever.
in Jabba Chamberlain's or was it Phil Hughes? I think it ended up being his first win, but the Yanks were behind at this point in the game. Then Johnny Damon comes up and smacks a home run, and I've never heard a place that loud before.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty special moment, and that literally the stadium was rocking. And that I can't even remember any other games where it was that loud. Now, so you were talking about that was your first Yankee game. Now, was that your first ever professional baseball game you went to?
Well, that was my first game at Yankee Stadium for the Yankees. I saw the Yankees in 75 when they played at Shea. That was the first time I ever saw the Yankees, was 75. My oldest sister, Deb, and her husband, Hef, took me to Yankees Red Sox. So my first ever Yankee game was at Shea, remarkably. I never got to go to the original stadium that Babe Ruth played in and Gehrig played in. I went to when it was remodeled. So I don't mean to confuse everybody, but 75 was my first ever Yankee game. Yankees beat the Red Sox. It was awesome. Thurman, I think, reached base all 5 times.
Wow.
It was a real barn burner. It was like 9-8 Yankees, I think, victory, or 8-7, something like that. But my first ever big league game was Shea Stadium. I was 7 years old, 1970, Munson's rookie year. But I was at Shea Stadium for the Mets. My older cousin, Billy Burke, and my dad took me to the Met games. The 3 of us went. 1970. Wow. Yeah. It was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And I was actually on TV. We had box seats, and the TV camera guy zoomed right in on me. And your grandmother, my mom, screamed in our home in Long Island when she saw me on the TV. She screamed so loud the neighbor heard her, came running from across the street and thought something was wrong because it's the middle of summer and the windows were open. So he came running over and thought something was wrong with her. And he's on television.
Wow, that's a pretty cool story. So growing up, I know you've mentioned, since being on here a few times, Thurman Munson, and obviously he was your guy through and through, and a lot of other people's guys as well. What made you gravitate towards him when you were watching him?
He was so confident. He was very confident the way he carried himself and took the field. It was like a veteran, and he played that way. His first year, he was Rookie of the Year. He was right in the mix. He was catcher, so he's right there in your face every day, and he rarely missed a game. Game in, game out, Thurman was there, calling the pitches, throwing out runners. He had an amazing quick release for catcher, great arm. Terrific hitter, terrific line drive hitter. So it was Thurman, Roy White, and Bobby Mercer. They were the 3 guys really early on there in the early 70s. And then Thurman became the guy. Bobby Mercer eventually got traded away. Roy White was still with the team, but Thurman had a bigger impact being behind the plate, and he moved into the key position in the batting order, 3rd and 4th in the batting order in the mid-70s, and just became a superstar in the game. He was just outstanding in every aspect of the game. He was just amazing. And that name, Thurman Munson, I always loved the history of baseball. I love the old names, Babe Ruth, Gehrig, Whitey Ford, Christy Mathewson of the Giants, Walter Johnson, Ty Cobb, Tris Speaker. Those names spoke to me as a little kid, and Thurman Munson seemed like an old-time name, and yet we had him, at the present time, and I just took to him. We all did.
Yeah, and he definitely fits that mold of just the classic baseball player. When you're looking back throughout the years, he certainly fits right in. And you've shed some light on really his statistics, through your research the past, I don't know, 10 or so years through your little passion project, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Can you tell the folks a little bit about Thurman's Army and everything that you guys have done up to this point?
Well, when Baseball Reference became available to me on the internet, I always knew and thought Thurman belonged in the Hall of Fame, and I started hitting the numbers really hard, and I was so happy they were available to me. And the deeper that I dug into the numbers, the more outstanding he became. I mean, I researched catchers back to when the World Series first started in 1903, and his numbers were just amazing. Every kind of search or research project that I did on him, he shined. It was just amazing. So I said, well, this guy really was as good as I thought he was. There's no doubt. He does belong in the Hall of Fame, like I always thought. It really bugged me. A friend of mine now saw my work on the internet, Chris Hahn. He got a hold of me. We didn't even know each other. He loved Thurman too. We did a article together. Larry Schnapp, a lawyer from New York City, saw our article, and he started a petition on the internet, signed the petition for Thurman Munson for the Hall of Fame. He used our statistical data as a rallying point for Thurman. And then Adrian Statfeld, who helps run the Thurman Munson fan club page, and Rennie LaRue, who is the owner and director of the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, and Gary Kashak, a writer from New Jersey, originally from Binghamton, New York, where Thurman started his professional career. We all got together, and they joined our team, and we did an amazing amount of research. We did a great job highlighting the outstanding and incredible career of Thurman. The spotlight is on him now like never before. Brian Kenny of MLB Network did a great job. We were so happy in August of 2018 on the MLB Network, Cooperstown Justice for Thurman. So we were so happy and excited to see that. And that's, we've been to the Munson dinner with Diana and the family. Diana's an amazing woman. When I look at Diana, I feel like I'm looking at, Mrs. Babe Ruth and Mrs. Lou Gehrig. When I was a kid, I'd see them in the stands, on the telecasts. And when I'd be watching, it has that same effect on me. She's an incredible woman. She carries herself and Thurman's legacy forward here. 40 years, the Thurman Munson Awards dinner it'll be 40 years this week that she's held the dinner, and she's incredible. The work she does with AHRC in Thurman's name, she's raised millions and millions of dollars, and it's just incredible. She's, in an imperfect world that we live in, to me, her relationship with the fans is perfect. So you have that perfect bond between this amazing woman and her family, who's so wonderful, with Thurman's fans, and now fan and family. That's as perfect as I think you'll ever get to something. She just handles herself and the Thurman legacy so incredibly beautiful. It's just great. It's just great.
Yeah. And where can folks go to find out, and look at some of the research you've compiled, and speaking about AHRC, where can they go to support that cause as well?
Well, www.munsonhof.com, and you can find tons of information and statistics on there. You can go to the Thurman Munson fan club page on Facebook and join the club. You have to answer just a few questions. There's a lot of my statistics are on there. If you get on the fan club page and then you type in my name for a search on Thurman's fan club page, a lot of the statistics that I've laid out are on there as well, maybe in a little different way than they are on the Munson HOF website. AHRC is easy to find. Just Google it, and you can support the cause. You can send money to AHRC to help the people in need there, and or you can go to the dinner, which is an incredible event this year. Lou Piniella is going to be getting an award. Hopefully, we'll be going, and we'd love to meet Lou. So Yeah, it's really a great thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these athletes are terrific. We don't hear enough about the good things that they do.
Yeah. No, certainly not. And so let's take it back a little bit to your playing days. You know, when you were growing up, what was your favorite position to play?
I love to pitch. I love shortstop, exciting, fun, being out there, anticipating what's going to happen, kind of the captain of the infield. But pitching is definitely my favorite spot to be in. I love the cat and mouse of the batter versus the hitter, not knowing what pitch is going to be thrown by the batter, and being the pitcher trying to figure out how you can trick them. That's where baseball starts right there. The ball's in the pitcher's hand, and it doesn't start till that sign is given by the catcher and that pitch is thrown. So, no, I love pitching, man. I love putting a hitter away, and I love trying to get him out after he got a hit off me the first time. I love it. Next time through the lineup, okay, here we go. Let's do it again, like round two. You get to have like little bouts with each batter throughout the whole game. I love that, and I miss it. I miss it dearly. That was my spot to be in, pitching. Yeah.
And you've definitely passed those traits, I guess you could say, on to your three sons here. We were all pitchers at one point or another, and all played the game throughout high school. And Dan and I, fortunate enough to play in college as well. But I think another thing you passed on to us is, or at least myself, is the love for collecting baseball cards. When did that start for you?
Yeah, when I was little, cards are great. They're a lot of fun. When I was probably 6 years old or so, I remember the first cards I had, 1969. I came down with a hip disease. I had a hip disease called Perthes hips, and I couldn't walk for 3 years. So baseball cards were a big part of my world. My folks would get them for me, and my siblings would get them for me, and I collected them. Mostly in 1970 and 71, which just happened to be Thurman's rookie year and second year cards. The black bordered set of the 71s are very tough to find in good condition. I love the cards because it brought the players right into my hands. I'd watch them on TV. We'd read about them in the paper, look at the box scores, and my siblings would talk to me about them. And it was fun. You learn from baseball cards. I learned how to do fractions. I learned math on the cards. I learned how to read from the cards. So baseball cards are great. It's a great, fun hobby. And yeah, that's when it started for me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I wish I had a Mickey Mantle rookie.
I was going to ask you if there was one baseball card you wish you could have, what would it be? But
it's got to be the Mantle. I think hands down, it's got to be the Mantle. There might be a couple now that are more valuable, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
The real nice ones are going for about $2 million. So good luck.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty incredible. I think, I don't know why this one just kind of sticks in my head, but I would love to have the Hank Aaron rookie that's shown on the movie The Sandlot. That one, it's just got a classic look to it. I would love to add that to collection. I think that's up there and close to the similar value, but maybe not as much as the Mantle, but it's still up there.
Yeah, it's climbing. Yeah, it's getting up there. Yeah.
And you mentioned that it's tough to find even the 70 set or the 71 set in good condition. Well, that's because you guys used to flip those cards, right?
That's right. We used to flip them in many different ways, and we'd also put them in our bicycle spokes. We would put them on the spokes, and you go driving down the street on your bike and riding down the street on your bike, and you'd hear them just going. It was a really great sound, and you'd hear somebody coming and be like, "Hey, I wonder if that's my buddy coming around the corner." You'd hear the cards in the bicycle just flapping like really quick.
Huh.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, so a lot of those cards got ruined, and that's why they're so valuable, because a lot of them were turned into trash. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't make it. A lot of them got thrown out by mothers or grandmothers.
Yep, given away like mine were. Yep.
Oh no.
Yep. Gave away to my little cousin there, and hey, that's okay. That's okay. But I wish I had at least one of those back so I knew exactly, hey, this was in my hand when I was a kid. That would have been cool, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, and I know I alluded to this a little bit before, but you had three sons and they all played ball. And at one point, we were all playing baseball at the same time. What was that like for you and Mom?
That's a great question. Boy, it was fun. It was busy. It was exciting. You guys all excelled on the field. Most of the time when we went to the ballpark to watch you guys play, you were doing something good, man. You were all fun to watch. It was a thrill for us. And I always thought when, your oldest brother, Tommy, first started, I thought, I'm just going to watch. This is great. I had my playing days and, I'll just watch. And your mom said, oh, you can't watch. You have to coach. I said, what? I said, I just want to watch. She said, no, you have to coach. Well, I ended up coaching for, I think, probably about 25 years. So, yeah. Went from just, you got to coach to, well, I guess I did, didn't I? So, but yeah, it was, you guys were terrific to watch play. It was so much fun. I have so many great memories of watching you guys. And on the mound, like you said, you all pitched. You all had your moments where you were untouchable out there on the mound, and so exciting to watch. There's so many memories. It's hard to pick just one of those, but I could pick so many for each year's. All went on to excel in high school, and all most valuable players of your high school team, Haverling High School. Just a thrill. So many thrills. Yeah, it was great, man. And then on into college with Danny, and then you. It was just really something.
No, it's baseball. It's funny. It's a love-hate relationship, and you definitely can't stay away from it too long. That bug will start getting you, and that spring fever will hit. You put that mitt on, man, and you're right back on the field. You're right back on the diamond,
Yeah.
and there's nothing like it.
No, there isn't. And hey, by the way, I wasn't like you said. How was that for you? And I think you said you and Mom. Well, Mom would be out there pitching to you guys. I'd come home from work and pull into the driveway, and she'd be out there pitching, and you guys would be whacking that ball. So she was instrumental too. No doubt about it. And
certainly,
she even, I think, coached you, Jim, didn't she?
She was my first ever baseball coach. Her and Aunt Missy were our T-ball coach.
That's right.
I don't know if we were the Big Macs or McNuggets or what, but we had a pretty good team. I tell you that much.
You sure did. And they sure knew what they were doing. They both played softball when they were younger. They knew what they were doing out there.
Yes. Yeah. And, just looking back on all the memories, there's certainly, a lot of them, and you compile so many of them, especially being in the game for, 40 plus years. Is there any one game that sticks in your mind, either playing or attending or even watching on TV? I know I was actually just watching a few clips from the Ryne Sandberg game where he hit. It was the NBC's National Game of the Week, and it was Cubs Cardinals, and Sandberg hit the tying home run in the ninth, and then Cards scored two more to go back up, and then hit another tying home run in the 10th.
That's incredible.
And it was just, so it's games like that I know a lot of people remember. Is there anything that sticks in your memory?
Well, I have quite the memory for the game. A lot of people that play the game for a long time are so vested in it and in love with it, have that. They remember so many moments. There's so many good ones. I'm going to give you two from when I played. I played semi-pro ball for 7 years, parts of 7 or 8 years. My last game was when I was 33 years old. But I'm going to give you, personally, 1988, I want to say both of these happened. I was chosen for the All-Star team in the Stan Musial Semi-Pro League, which was an honor. It was really an honor that my team. I was really happy and surprised. And this league was former minor league players, professional players. from the minor leagues and college players. Now, I didn't get to play college ball, so I played against a lot of good players that year. So to be chosen was an honor. And it was quite a high scoring affair. I want to say it was about 14-12. The home run fence in left field was like 270.
Oh, wow.
It was wide and farther and center and right, but there was a short fence for some reason in left field. And I came in, I think the bases were loaded, and it was like 14-12, and I got the save. I got the last batter of the game. I got the last two, I think, and got the save. And really a moment I'll never forget personally for me. But for the best ever was that later that same year, I pitched the championship game for the Nassau County Championship for our Belmore Angels with my good buddies, Craig Stapleton, Tommy Finks, Danny Cow, and the Albanese brothers and others. I pitched that championship game and we won and went on to the next round for the battle to get to Battle Creek, Michigan for the Semi-Pro World Series. Needless to say, we made it to about 5 or 6 games in, and we finally got knocked out. We never made it to Battle Creek, but we did pretty good. We did pretty good trying to get there. And those are 2 great memories that I have.
That's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions here. Hope you're ready.
I'm ready. I'll give it a shot.
All right. What is your favorite baseball book?
I'm going to go with Thurman's book by Marty Appel right before Thurman died, sadly, in 1979. I'm so glad he did that book. It's a great book, and I'm so happy we have it.
Yeah. Favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie is Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, Dwyer Brown, Burt Lancaster, James Earl Jones, and Ray Liotta. No question about it. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, they're actually playing a game, not on the actual field, but close by. And oh man, what I would give to be in attendance at that one. That's got to be pretty special. We should see if we can work our way over there to Iowa.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. All right, and then last rapid fire question: your favorite ballpark besides Yankee Stadium?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'll tell you what. I've been to quite a few. I've been to about 12 to 15 different ones. I really like what they did with Citi Field. I went in 2010. I'd really like to go back. I haven't had the opportunity to go back. I think they did a great job with that. And I really liked Pittsburgh Stadium, PNC Park. That was pretty cool. But, any ballpark's a great ballpark, really. Most
True.
ballparks.
True. All right. Winding down the last couple questions here. This is always a fun conversation starter when I'm talking baseball with anyone. If you could go back in time and watch any one player play, not any old timer, who would it be?
I'd like to go back and watch Christy Mathewson pitch. Great pitcher from way, way back, early 1900s with the New York Giants. Christy was a great pitcher, and it was a time where baseball was known as a rough sport with rough kind of guys playing it, and he was kind of a gentleman in a rough man's game. College graduate from Bucknell University in Pennsylvania. That name always intrigued me, and I would love to see just how he dealt with the batters would be really exciting. I know Walter Johnson at the same time frame. He threw gas, he threw an amazing fastball. Christy, I get the feeling that Christy Mathewson was kind of like Greg Maddux. Like, I would love to see him pitch. That would be awesome.
It's one of those names that just kind of lives in baseball lore and in the history of the past that really these legends who kind of laid the foundation for the game that we watch today.
Yeah, no doubt. And Satchel Paige, great Satchel Paige. I would love to see him pitch too. I know you said just one, but I'm going to throw a nod to Satchel.
Well, I was actually just reading a story about him, and he would tell people what he was throwing, and he'd still blow it by him. He'd still strike him out. And
Yeah.
he would pitch 3 innings for one team, go drive 2 hours and find another team and pitch another 3 innings and just do that days on end. So I think that's pretty wild when you think about all these arm injuries you hear about today and all these clubs that are protecting their pitchers and, not letting them throw more than 150 innings or something like that. I think that's just a lost mentality now. Just there's very far and few, I guess, bulldogs out there anymore.
Yeah, to be blessed with that talent and the health to be able
True.
to do that is amazing. But it's true. I mean, there's more to it than meets the eye, I think, with these people not being able to throw as much as the guys used to, because even in the 70s and early 80s, these guys were still throwing tons of innings. And, I don't know. It's different. Something's not right about it, in my opinion.
Yep. Now, all right, we have come to the conclusion of our interview. We'll end it with one last extra innings question. Let's call it that. So the baseball genie has granted you with one wish. You get to have one baseball superpower. What would it be?
I would like to throw 100 miles an hour.
Wouldn't we all?
Yes, we would. I mean, I felt like I handled myself pretty good on the mound with what I was blessed with. I had to use a lot of moxie, they say, a lot of savvy. I wasn't a very big guy, 5'10", 170. When I played, I was probably more like 160. But to be able to throw 100 and then throw my slider and my changeup, and hey, I even threw a knuckleball to get by, 100 would have really come in handy.
Good Lord, could you imagine a 100-mile fastball mixed in with a knuckleball? Hitters would be hopeless.
Yeah, that's what I wish I had, 100. I mean, obviously to hit a 500-foot home run would be nice, but I think that 100-mile-an-hour fastball would take precedent. 100-mile-an-hour, please, Genie, give me that,
Yeah, you'd be sitting pretty.
Yep.
To say the least.
Like you've said, Jim, a lot of people now throw that hard. It's amazing. A lot of the players throw that hard now,
It's crazy with all the science that's been infused with the game. They're studying, everywhere from, like with the hitters, the launch angles on the bat and swing paths, and with the pitchers, the hip rotation, arm angles, and now I think spin rate on the baseball with your fastball. It's really getting down to the nitty gritty and making it more about human performance as much as about, just normal athletic performance too.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I understand, trying to get the best you can out of everything, but it's funny, they can throw harder, but they can't throw as much, right?
Yep.
They can't throw as much, but they can throw harder.
Very true. Well, Dad, I want to thank you for being on the show again. Thanks for letting me take a trip down memory lane with you there. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll have you back on another episode.
Yeah, Jim, thanks so much. It's so great to see your passion for the game, and to do something like this is just outstanding. It's so great. I can't wait to listen to some of the people that you talk with and enjoy their memories and their experiences through you. So great job on this, and thanks so much. I really appreciate it. It was great.
That wraps up today's conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please give our podcast a like and share it with your friends. And if you have a baseball-related story to tell that you would like to have featured on the show, drop us a line in the comments, or you can send a direct message to our Facebook page. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, I'm Jim Tunison, and this is For Love of the Game.